Brexit, the Untold story. June 23, 2016. A defining moment in British history. Over 33 million people cast their votes in a decision that would reshape the United Kingdom's future, to remain in the European Union or to leave. The result? Leave, 51.9%. Remain, 48.1%. A nation divided, a political earthquake, and an uncertain future. The UK joined the European Economic Community in 1973. For decades, Britain's relationship with Europe was a source of debate. Proponents of EU membership saw economic benefits and global influence. Critics argued that Brussels had too much control over UK laws and borders. In 2013, under pressure from his own party and growing Euroscepticism, Prime Minister David Cameron promised a referendum. The Leave campaign, fueled by promises of sovereignty and a crackdown on immigration, struck a chord. The Remain side warned of economic downturns and global instability. On that fateful day in June 2016, the people of Britain made their choice. But what followed was far from straightforward. The morning after the referendum, David Cameron resigned. His successor, Theresa May, inherited the challenge of delivering Brexit. But how would the UK leave the EU? With a deal? Without one? The details proved more complex than anyone had imagined. Years of negotiations, deadlocked votes, and political infighting followed. The Irish border, trade agreements, and the rights of EU citizens in Britain became contentious issues. May's government failed to push through a deal, leading to her resignation in 2019. Enter Boris Johnson, a man who promised to get Brexit done. With a new mandate, he renegotiated the withdrawal agreement and led Britain out of the EU on January 31, 2020. But was the hard part really over? With Brexit in effect, the real-world consequences began to unfold. Businesses faced new trade barriers. British fishermen, once promised control over their waters, struggled with export delays. Supply chains suffered. For Northern Ireland, Brexit reignited old tensions. The newly imposed trade border in the Irish Sea angered unionists and complicated UK-EU relations. Meanwhile, British citizens faced travel restrictions in Europe. Economic growth slowed. Yet, for Brexit supporters, this was the necessary price of independence. Years after leaving the EU, the debate still rages. Some push for closer ties with Europe, while others demand an even cleaner break. The younger generation, overwhelmingly pro-Remain in 2016, will shape the next chapter. Was Brexit a victory for sovereignty or a costly mistake? Did it fulfill its promises, or did it leave the UK weaker? One thing is certain: Brexit was not just a political decision. It was a turning point that reshaped Britain's identity, economy, and place in the world.